Hello Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for IDW Sonic the Hedgehog issue 41. When we last left our heroes, Sonic, Tails, Amy, Belle, and Tangle were all in this sort of weird dimensional tower that Eggman built. Due to a bunch of events they had to escape, it was all very convoluted and kind of weird, but the important thing is, though, Belle got to have a conversation with Eggman, making explicit what was very clear implicitly, that Belle was created by Mr. Tinker, and Belle believed that if she could talk to Eggman, she could bring Mr. Tinker back out. And she learned that she was wrong in a pair of completely devastating scenes from that issue, which justified all of the weirdness of the rest of Test Run. But also, this issue is bringing back Zavok and the Deadly Six. So, when we last left Zavok and the Deadly Six, besides Zavok, had scattered to the four winds in the aftermath of the Metal Virus saga. Zavok was in prison for a while, but got busted out with Starline, and due to a bunch of events, he sort of slinked off, wounded, injured, but trying to go find the rest of the Deadly Six. So yeah, all that being said, let's jump right on into issue 41. Our picture here is fairly simple for our cover. Sonic and Zavok start mid-clash as the rest of the Deadly Six, whose names I'm much less familiar on, because they did not get a miniseries about them, are kind of in the background behind them. Anyway, our story so far goes back to the Metal Virus saga. We have, I think this is Cream at the end of Metal Virus, yelling at the nearly defeated Zavok. "Stop it! All your mean friends were beaten. The bad times are over. Just go home." And Zavok's, "I will not suffer humiliation from Sonic again. I will never accept defeat." And then we see Amy's, resignation. Near the end of, shortly before she would officially resign from the Restoration. "Tails, please, we just prevented the end of the world and Sonic may be lost to us. I don't know how much more I can take." "Me too, but Zavok was just one of the Deadly Six. Sorry, the other 5 are still out there." So that I think is the important line in that panel. Then we have some more bad guys, Zavok and Starline's alliance. "So this plan of yours is for my benefit?" "Yes, sir. We all stand to gain by it, but I hereby pledge myself to you." We see Eggman attacking the building Zavok was in, and him slinking away on a controlled egg pawn. "Move, heal, survive, find my pack, get revenge." So we see here that, as Ian Flynn's returned to head writer, he's very much focusing on his own story beats, and maybe not Evan Stanley's. I hope that is not a complete, rejection of Belle, because after last issue, I want more Belle. But anyway, we have our roll call here. Sonic, Jewel, the Chaotix, the Deadly Six, and Dr. Eggman. The Deadly Six's names, if you are like me and forget them fairly frequently: Zavok, Zik, Zaz, Xena, Zomom, and Zor. And with all of that, I feel like these Sonic videos always have such a long intro, because there's so much material just before you even get to the story. Anyway, after all of that, we open in Winterburg, on an ice sculpture of Sonic, seemingly classic Sonic by the looks of things. But either way, it is destroyed by the chainsaw of, an Eggman mech. "Hold still, you miserable. I know it's been a while, but is that any way to..." Oh no, that's Sonic's line. "I know it's been a while, but is that any way to break the ice?" And Eggman just snaps at him. No tiresome ice puns." So here's an interesting thing. Sonic says it's been a while, but Sonic and Eggman just clashed, last issue. So, how long has it been, from Sonic's perspective? How long has it been since Test Run? What's the sort of timeline we're working on here? I don't really know. But anyway, Sonic kind of runs past the shards of ice, and then responds to Eggman. "Fine, we'll skip to me stopping your conquest of this quaint little town." But Eggman counters, "I don't care about this frostbitten hamlet. I'm hunting Zeti, eep, and Sonic has, like, started to spin dash towards him. Zavok and his Deadly Six are on the loose. I need to take them out before they cause more trouble. And since you're too inept to handle them... So Eggman here almost seems to be... Like he's not directly saying, we have the same goals here. But there is kind of the implication that their intentions on this matter are kind of aligned. But Sonic just will not have it. Me, you're the one who invited them to your Plague-a-Palooza. They're your fault. And Eggman counters, no, that was Starline's harebrained idea to make things better. But Sonic counters, and he was your lackey, so your fault. All this time there's a physical fight going on beyond just the war of words, of course. But Eggman counters, he's no longer affiliated with me. You got a long list of evil deeds a mile long. You're trying to weasel out of this one with semantics. Call him out, Sonic. I have a reputation to uphold. And we see, I believe this is Zik, the little blue old man, who I think, that might have been the Chaotix, or not Chaotix, the Babylon Rogues who fought him, I think. But Sonic banters some more. Forget Eggman, I'm calling you Dr. Nutjob from now on. Zik listens in and thinks, so Zavok is alive? Then why hasn't he come to gather us? We're each formidable, but we need his leadership. So has Zavok been, like, holed up somewhere healing for the past several issues since Bad Guys ended? Anyway, Eggman retorts at Sonic, unacceptable. Perhaps he's wounded. The weak should be left behind. But these are extraordinary circumstances. So we see Zik, if it weren't for the bad position the Deadly Six have found themselves in, would have, like, no qualms just leaving Zavok behind, I guess. Anyway, Sonic avoids a chainsaw. Back to Baldy McNosehair it is, then. That's not funny! It's never been funny! It's never going to be funny! Eggman, I like, there's a very, like, distinct pettiness that, like, Sonic is kind of a petty character especially in his bantering. Like, he's the kind of guy who would kind of, like, make the kind of Baldy McNosehair jokes. But Eggman always tries to, like, present himself as being above it all. And you get moments like this where, like, no, he's throwing a temper tantrum right now. Anyway, we cut back to Zik. I'll begin rallying the others. Try to meet him halfway. Hang on, my former apprentice. So, I feel like this is a good time to clarify. I have not played Lost World. My knowledge of the Deadly Six comes from general fan dissatisfaction with them as characters in the Lost World game, and from their role in the Metal Virus Saga and Bad Guys. So, my former apprentice is kind of news to me. Anyway, hang on, my former apprentice. Our war is not over. And then we cut to elsewhere, as Zavok is still kind of being carried by the egg pawn. No farther. I must rest. And the egg pawn kind of, like, lets Zavok down by this tree. I had planned to take a whole army from Eggman. All I had to show for my efforts is one robot. I was the mightiest on Lost Hex. Then I fought Sonic and Eggman, suffering one humiliating defeat after another. Beaten, broken, would be so easy to surrender. And we get these two little flashback panels. The bottom one, I think, is Zavok kind of broken and bruised at the end of the Metal Virus Saga. That top one, is that from Lost World? Someone who's played Lost World, please feel free to fill me in. One of these days I'll play some of the more recent Sonic games. But I've not played Lost Worlds, so I can't really answer that. Anyway, be so easy to surrender. And he just, like, slams his hand on the ground and, like, enraged. I love the art style on that main top panel there. It's very, like, scratchy, very line heavy. No, never. Defeat is only a foundation for revenge. And he turns to the egg pawn. Connect to the Eggnet. Activate your GPS. Find which is closest. Riverside, Vista View, Orchardville, Sunset City, or Winterburg. The others won't have strayed far from where I sent them. I will need the full might of the Deadly Six to fulfill my revenge. Oh yeah, they would kind of still be in the locations that Zavok sent them way back when. And then we will lay waste to everything. And the two of them kind of slink off into the woods. And we come to Riverside, where the pink member of the Deadly Six... Let me see if I can work out which one this is with a quick wiki search. Hold on 1 second. I cannot... Their names are for some reason just, like, not listed on the Sonic wiki. Is this Zaz? Yeah, Zaz. Okay. So this is Zaz in Riverside. He's sitting on this sort of, like, rock, trying to grab some fish. Come here, come here, come here! And he tries to grab it, but he falls into the water, and the fish gets away, and Zaz sits up. Stupid fish. I'm hungry. And then Zavok looms over him. What are you? And the doing of that bottom right panel doesn't even get a speech bubble. Maybe he doesn't even need to say it. Zaz just knows. And Zaz, like, gets up on his, like, hands and knees. The people got turned back to normal. They overwhelmed me and kicked me out. And Zavok just gets right up in his face. You are Zeti. You are of the Deadly Six. You do not survive. You conquer. Do you still have the moon mech? And Zaz, seemingly back in Zavok's, it's not good graces, at least, like, not in immediate danger anymore, is, like, seemingly excited at that question. Yeah, I stashed it not too far from here. Summon it. Our revenge begins now. And the two of them just lay waste to Riverside. We see, I don't know if I've never quite been sure if Mobian is still in use in canon now. I know in Archieverse it was. I'm not sure if IDW uses Mobian, but I'm going to keep saying Mobian until I'm corrected. Anyway, so we see, like, the yellow egg pawn kind of looming over a Mobian. Another one has fallen to the blast of the moon mech. And we cut to soon, as Zavok is sitting atop the rubble of a house in Riverside, being tended to by a doctor. As Zavok has, like, one arm around the doctor. Wrap them tight, doctor. I will heal fast with the proper support. Yes, sir. Then may I tend to my neighbors? And Zavok just slams him down. No. Rip, my man. I think you're dead. And Zavok turns to Zaz. This town was pristine before we began. Did you do nothing with the zombots? Of course I tore stuff up, but something called the Restoration rolled in and fixed everything. The jerks. Had they? I guess they weren't really on our world super long to even, like, learn about the Restoration. They might have only been there for, like, a couple of days before the climax of the Metal Virus saga. But Zavok kind of takes that in. The Restoration. And then we come to Vista View, which is where I think... Oh, this is Zomom. We see Zomom is the one that Amy and Tails fought, right? Let me check my listing. Yes. Where he's still kind of chained up or caged up after the battle Tails and Amy had with him. And Mobians are just, like, casually getting lunch around him. Of course, Zomon being, like, the food crazy one, is very jealous. And the people just kind of chat. I can't believe how good the town looks. It's all thanks to the Restoration. It's like the Metal Virus never touched this place. And Zomon kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Why is the word escaping me? Talks to. Let's just say talks to. Not what I was looking for at all, but talks to. This blue bunny. It's not fair. You can't have a feast and not let me feast. And she counters, you know the deal. You behave and we feed you on the hour. Or should I give this to someone else? I'll be good. Good boy. And she puts the cake right next to him, but he can't get to it because he's trapped in this really tiny box. But just then, Zaz attacks with the moon mech. Wahaha! Party's over, chumps! And Zavok walks up to Zomom. And I thought I'd found Zaz in a pathetic state. I was weak with hunger. Now I only get 3 meals a day. Let me out so I can eat up. And Zavok tears open the door to his cage. You are Zeti. You are of the Deadly Six. You do not accept ration feedings. You consume all. And Zomom just goes to town. Roar! And and then the next thing we see is actually a bird guy using this kind of, I don't think that's a Wispon, but it's some kind of air generator on the egg pawn, destroying it maybe? But he calls out, everyone to the designated shelter. But Zavok just picks him up. You serve this restoration? But the bird responds, Security Corps. We stop badniks from attacking the reconstruction efforts. So you rebuild? Protect? This is not the Zeti way. Explain. But between the war and the plague, we've got to look out for one another. We've come a long way by working together, and Zavok does not take kindly to that. You strive to undo all that my kind has done. You worked so well together. Now suffer together. And later, Vista View has fallen. The Deadly Six have gotten 3 members again, and they're all walking in the woods. It feels so... this is Zaz, my bad. It feels so good to be wrecking stuff again. Let's burn down this forest. And Zavok stops him later. We have many miles to go before the pack is at full strength. And then Zik appears. Prudent, but wrong. Hello, Zavok. Master Zik. I took the liberty of rounding up the others, so that we might all regroup sooner. And with that we have, I think Xena is the green one, and Zor is our friendly neighborhood emo. But they're all back. And Zavok bows to Zik. A wise course of action, Master. Well done. We are the Deadly Six once more. What would you have us do? And Zavok responds, we march back the way you came. We find the towns that so foolishly resisted us, and we raze them to the ground. And Zik kind of questions him. That's it? And Zavok breaks a sweat there, actually. He's kind of nervous. They're but the first to suffer our revenge. There will be much more to follow. And Zik tells him, I understand the desire, but it's too obvious. I trust you've not left nothing but misery in your wake. And Zavok kind of banters at him. I'd assume the screams led you to us. And so you've begun to set a pattern. We are far from Lost Hex, so we cannot return home. We are in the lands of our enemies, who are numerous and organized. It won't take them long to realize our targets and prepare for us. But Zavok is just kind of single-minded in his lust for violence here. Then we face them on the battlefield. We rout them or fall in glorious battle. An acceptable end, to be sure, but we can achieve so much more. You've heard of the Restoration, yes? They bring safety, stability, and worst of all, hope. Tear it out by the roots, and the world has no means of recovering from our viciousness. So, I'm trying to remember, I felt like Zavok was more than just kind of brute muscle back in Bad Guys. He is more than brute muscle here, but he's kind of he has the leadership charisma, but I thought he was also pretty strategic in Bad Guys, if I'm not mistaken. But here he's very much just sort of, maybe it's kind of when Zik is around, that sort of dynamic of master and apprentice kind of comes back in, but when Zavok is on his own, he sort of becomes the leader, becomes a bit more strategic. Whereas in this situation, he's kind of fine leaving all that to Zik. I don't know. I might be looking too deep into it. Either way, they're going for the Restoration next. And Zavok acknowledges, Wise counsel, Master. We will march for the nearest town, as I said. We will firmly establish our pattern of attack by ruining all that stands there. As the heroes rush to defend the other 2 towns, we will instead double back and assault the Restoration's base when its defenses are at their weakness. There's that strategy. There's that more strategic mind. Maybe it was more of he kind of let his rage get the best of him. And now that he's sort of, like, had a moment to cool down, get a stern talking to. He's like, oh, right. Let's make them think we're stupid. Zik acknowledges. Now that is a plan. And Zavok, giving us what is almost certainly going to be our thumbnail, Deadly Six, march. And the 6 of them head out to attack whatever the next village is. Orchardville, apparently. I forget who was in Orchardville originally. Doesn't really matter. But we see some people just picking apples or picking some kind of fruit. But the Deadly Six arrive and start causing havoc. Anyway, the security corps comes on the attack. There's more of those things? That runty one was bad enough. And Zavok just whacks them with a tree. And they're kind of squashed underneath its weight. As Zavok kind of puts his foot on top of the tree, adding to the weight. Pathetic. This town fell so easily. I do hope the others put up some fight. Alerting the Mobians there that he's going to attack the other towns. As our blue friend says to the bunny, I'll distract him. You have to send word to the others. And Zavok, if he could grin, would grin at his plan going perfectly. We then come to Restoration HQ with my boys, the Chaotix. As Charmy says as they all enter, wowie, wowie, wow, this is so much cooler than the old headquarters. And Espio looks around. Indeed, a lot of work was put into it after we accidentally destroyed the old one. Oh, rip. Yeah, we should probably offer that. We probably should offer them a discount on account of that. Vector comes up to the sheep from I think she was the one who Tangle and Belle stole the little speeder from at the start of Test Run, I think. But anyway, Vector announces himself. Hey there, we're the Chaotix. Jewel sent for us. Oh, I'll announce you. Announce? The sheep, just like on her intercom, yells, Director Jewel, the Chaotix Detective Agency to see you, ma'am. And then there's some kind of gag going on here. Because we see the, like, Vector kind of physically in pain. He kind of clutches his ear. And then on the next page, the sheep is just, like, down in the dumps all of a sudden. I'm not quite sure what that's about. And Vector acknowledges her. We see, like, the two head effect. I don't really know what the deal is with that gag. But Vector quickly turns back to Jewel. As Jewel, like, shakes his hand. I love also just the size disparity there. Like, Jewel's hand is, like, the size of one of Vector's fingers. Anyway, thank you for coming so quickly, Vector. Our pleasure. We've had a rash of violent attacks that don't seem to be Eggman related. The survivors spoke of horned monsters. And Espio just quickly figures it out. The Deadly Six. And Jewel's kind of shocked at how fast they figured out what was going on, which is weird because there aren't that many horned monsters in the world right now. The Deadly Six is like a very recent threat. I don't think it's been that long since the Metal Virus saga. But anyway, Jewel's kind of stunned at how quick they work as a detective agency. That was quick. And they're sort of the trio is looking over this like sheet of info. Look here, I fought Zaz in Riverside. Tails and Amy fought Zomom in Vista View, while Silver and Whisper took down Zor in Orchardville. And Vector looks at it too, and we know Zavok escaped from Everhold prison. And Jewel is excited at how well they're working. You've already figured out what's going on? It's a pretty open and shut case. The D6 were out for revenge and they got sloppy. We can easily deduce where they'll strike next. You're about to get played, Vector. I'm sorry, Vector. You are right about to get played. And then the Chaotix Detective Agency can handle the rest. And we come to Winterburg as a building blows up. This might be the ending of that earlier Eggman Sonic fight, because we see Eggman's in like the Eggmobile flying away from the explosion. Curse you, Sonic! This isn't the end! Yeah, not until you got a clue and give up the villain shtick. Still, that was a fun few days. Get back to basics, blow up an egg base. So that was apparently going on for a few days? Okay. I guess. I think I'll take some time off, help rebuild, enjoy the town for a bit, maybe, and he gets a little beep on some kind of communicator, or not, and it's his like, watch. What's up, Tails? Bad news, the Deadly Six are on the move. Fancy that, Eggman and I were talking about them earlier. What? Tell you later. Got any details? So yeah, like again, how much time has passed here? Because it's clearly been multiple days since Zavok started his attacks. It's not quite clear how much days have passed since that earlier, the beginning of the issue, with Zik. That might have been like a flash forward or something. Maybe, possibly, I don't know. It's unclear how much time has passed. That's what I'm getting at. Anyway, Tails informs him, the Chaotix have narrowed down their targets to Sunset City and Winterburg. They're heading to the former. Can you make it to the latter soon? And Sonic just grins. Oh, I think I can manage that, because he's already in Winterburg. Perfect. I can kick back and relax with plenty of time to rest before stomping up some goons. And that's where we end. Next time, Restoration HQ, Under Invasion. And we get a sneak peek at our cover for next month, of Jewel and the Focus kind of like scared, being protected by what looks like Tangle and Whisper. So yeah, this was a fun sort of, it's very much set up, in large part. We get this quick little Sonic and Eggman banter, which is a lot of fun. But most of the issue is sort of, a kind of getting the gang back together for the Deadly Six, as Zavok, apparently, I'm gonna guess here, given how fast Zavok recovers, once the story starts, that, like, Bad Guys has just happened. That Bad Guys is... Oh, no, because Bad Guys is definitely before Badnik Bases and Chow Rice and the Badnik Bases. So I'm a little... It's... Because I'm about to say, given how fast Zavok seems to heal, I don't think that much time has passed since Bad Guys. But it definitely has, because Starline's whole thing is like explicitly post Bad Guys in CRABB. So I don't know. I probably should not think too hard about Zavok's healing abilities, or healing speed, I guess. Sorry, can y'all tell this video is being made at 12:30 in the fucking morning? I am going a little bit loopy. But yeah, it's very much sort of a getting the gang back together for Zavok as he sort of comes to Riverside, picks up Zaz, goes to Vista View to pick up Zomom, and then is met in the woods by Zik, Zor, and Xena as they go to Orchardville. I think the highlight of the issue is this bit of strategy. Zik is like, stop focusing on just blind revenge, and like, use your brain for a single second. Don't make it so obvious where we're going. And as soon as Zavok does and starts to think, he's like, hold on, what if we do make it obvious and then throw them off? Which we'll see how well that works next time, as the Chaotix and Sonic are both, not in town, or have been completely bamboozled by the red herrings that the Deadly Six set up. Sonic admittedly does not have the information. He's just kind of been told where to go, but the Chaotix fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. We'll see how all of that comes out next time. But yeah, it's not like last issue where there's a whole lot to dig into with Bell and Eggman. This is just a lot of setup, and I'm hoping that this is just the start of a very good arc. And yeah, we'll have to kind of wait and see what comes next. Again, not a whole lot to really dig into here. It's a lot of just Zavok getting the gang back together, and starting to deceive the Restoration as he sort of tries to take them down. And we'll see how all that goes next time. So I'm going to leave this video off here. Hope you'll enjoy the chapter and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe, do whatever makes you happy, And remember, your life is your own, okay? Bye!